Conscience. Author-Vladimir Shubnikov. In one town there lived a little boy, his name was Y. Y was a smart and very curious boy. He was interested in everything, he watched with curiosity the birds, butterflies, and ants. He was interested in everything, and he often asked questions: why? How? For what? Where? He could ask questions to everyone, but more often with his questions he turned to his grandfather, whom he sometimes confused with them. Grandfather lived in the forest among birds and animals. His name was Weissgrend. They didn't see much of each other, but they made video calls almost every day, and now Y has a question again, and he calls Weissgrend. Grandy, hello. How are you? What did you do? Hello, dear Y, thank you, everything is fine. Today I overheard two clouds talking to a mountain. It was raining in the mountains, wasn't it, Grandpa? Wow, clever, you're a shrewd kid. What news do you have? Yeah, I was watching ants today and I heard one mother scolding her son for something, and she often said, "You have no conscience." So I wondered if I had a conscience and what it is and for what it is a conscience. Oh, why, this is a difficult question, let's try to figure it out together. What do you think, what is this and for what? I don't know, Mom and Dad never asked me if I had a conscience or where it was, so they always ask me if I took my cell phone with me when I went for a walk. But I guess conscience isn't a cell phone. Honey, and Mom and Dad were talking to you about how bad things are and how people shouldn't be treated. Yes, Grandy, of course, more than once, and told different stories about rudeness and theft. Well, why, let's talk to you about stealing, for example. But I know that stealing is bad and humiliating. That's good. Let's figure out together what conscience is. In a distant country there lived a boy, let's call him Thief. He studied little, was greedy, and always envied everyone. Everyone in his family was a thief, and he mastered the skill of a thief. It was always a great achievement for him to steal something very expensive. He liked to steal something, he did it with great pleasure and considered stealing to be a very worthy cause. But one day, he had an incident. He saw a beautiful girl in the street. She was in a hurry and accidentally dropped her handbag, but she didn't notice the loss. The handbag was beautiful, embroidered with colorful patterns, and it can be costly, and there were also expensive gold earrings. Thief saw this, he was very observant and nimble, and he grabbed this handbag, but for some reason, he didn't hide it or take the gold earrings. He put two of his favorite candies in her handbag, and he ran up to the girl, pulled her sleeve and gave her the handbag. The girl was delighted and thanked him, saying that her mother's earring was in her handbag, and for her, it was safe from all troubles. She hurried on, waving him goodbye. The little thief walked home confused. Today he did not steal anything, and besides, he gave away two of his favorite candies. And condemnation was seething inside him. How could you miss such an expensive loot, and not just miss it, but give it away yourself and put two more of your favorite candies there? The inner judge told him, after all, this is not according to our rules, this cannot be done. It's a shame if your family finds out about this, everyone will be unhappy with you. This is how his so-called conscience awoke, condemning him for an act that he committed contrary to his habits and values. Why he did this, he did not understand. But conscience condemned him for this act since it differed from the established rules and destroyed all the values of his life, where theft is a feat. So, but he did the right thing, Y perked up. Of course, but his internal laws are different, therefore Judge Conscience judges him according to these laws. But a lot will change for him. Grandy, how do you know? Buddy, I overheard what the clouds and the mountain were talking about, and they talked about a lot. Will you tell me? Yes, maybe some other time. In the meantime, let's continue our conversation about conscience. In another faraway country there lived another boy, his name was Right. He loved to read a lot, helped kids, and made toys for them with his own hands. Right was kind, sympathetic, and always tried to share with others everything he had. And then one day, riding his bike in the park, he saw a girl his age sitting on a bench and enthusiastically reading a large colorful book of fairy tales. Wright really wanted to read this book, but he thought that the girl would hardly let him even look at this book, she was so engrossed in reading. The book took possession of him. He rode in a large circle of alleys, thinking only about the book. Every time he passed the girl, he looked into the book. It was time to go home, and he decided to make the last circle. To his surprise, the book was lying on the bench in a transparent bag from the rain and dust, and the girl was moving away from the bench, towards the exit from the park. Wright's first impulse was to pick up the book, catch up with the girl, and return the book to her. But the desire to look at and read the book overcame him. He took the book, put it in his backpack, and went home. And then Judge Conscience woke up. "How dare you take someone else's thing without permission, you are a thief." The girl will be upset when she discovers the loss, maybe this is her most precious thing. "How can you not be ashamed?" Judge Conscience continued to judge and reproach. Wright walked around gloomy all evening. He did not tell his mom and dad about his new book. They had already begun to worry whether he was sick and put him to bed early. Before going to bed, Wright tried to read at least one fairy tale and look at the pictures, but the Judge Conscience did not calm down. "The girl is crying, how badly you behaved," she reproaches. Wright slept poorly all night. And in the morning he decided to take the book back to the bench in the park. At the same time as yesterday, he went to the park and saw this girl sitting on the same bench and drawing something in a notebook. The girl did not seem upset. He took the book out of his backpack and apologetically gave it to the girl. The girl happily and with some surprise accepted the book. She thanked Wright. After they got to know each other, she told him an amazing story about this book. About this, some other time. Judge Conscience has decided, Wright, you have corrected your mistake and will not do it again. And Wright promised the Judge of Conscience not to take other people's things without asking. Well, why, have you understood what conscience is and what laws it lives by? Yes, of course, you need to establish only good laws for conscience, be kind, honest and be friends with everyone. Yes, you are right, but having established laws from good values, do not break them, so as not to disturb the Judge, Conscience. Sometimes conscience wakes up during the plan to do something outside the rules and then it can keep you from doing the wrong thing, but this happens more often when a person is thinking, doubting how to act. Such conscience is no longer a judge, it is like an overseer of a prisoner. Here is a third case, listen. There lived a nice little boy named Bondi. He was very energetic and caused a lot of trouble for his parents. His parents loved him very much and wanted, like all parents, for Bondi to grow up kind, honest, and responsive, so they constantly told him what to do and what not to do and that he should always listen to his conscience. That's how his conscience came from these rules that they told him. When he wanted to take someone else's toy, conscience began screaming, "No way. Don't you dare take someone else's." He wanted to roll around in the sand, conscience, "You can't get dirty." And so on throughout all the days. His conscience became some kind of guard overseer, and he, like a forced prisoner, walked under the power of conscience and always regretted afterward that he had not played with someone else's toy, had not tumbled around like a pig in the sand. But when he regretted it, his conscience rested, because he did not do anything bad according to the rules of conscience. Grandpa, you have completely confused me. Is it good to have a conscience or bad? And in general, is conscience good or bad? Conscience like thieves turns out to be bad because he did a noble deed, and it scolded him. Wright's conscience seems to be good, but because of it he did not even enjoy an interesting book. By the way, what kind of fairy tales were in this book? Magical, about this next time. Well, Bondi's conscience seems to be correct, but living with such a conscience is not interesting at all. If you don't do it, you won't go there. All of these consciences are unattractive, I didn't like them. It's better to live without them. Maybe you're right, but then the values in life should be such that you and the people you have to meet always feel comfortable. And you won't need judges and overseers in the form of conscience.